డే 1 is the first 2000 administration day. సో డే 1 బి అంటే ముందు ఏమైనా అసెస్మెంట్స్ అయితే అవన్నీ మైనస్ డేస్ వస్తాయి కదా.
మైనస్ వాల్యూ ఉంది సార్, అది దాంట్లో కూడా ఉంది.
మీకు మైనస్ రాకూడదని రూల్ ఏం లేదు. బేసిక్గా సింపుల్ చెక్ చేయండి. వాళ్ళ డేట్ డే 1 నిన్న డేట్ రోజు ఏమన్నా అసెస్మెంట్ అయినాయి అంటే ఆబ్వియస్ గా -1 అవుతుంది. అంటే డేట్ చూడండి, డేట్ ఆర్ఎఫ్ఎస్టీ డిటిసి ఆర్ఎఫ్ అసెస్మెంట్ డేట్ ముందు ఉందా తర్వాత ఉందా. ముందు ఉంది అంటే ఆబ్వియస్ మైనస్ డేస్ వస్తాయి. సేమ్ డే ఉంటే 1 వస్తుంది, తర్వాత డేస్ ఉంటే పాజిటివ్ డేస్ వస్తాయి. అంతే సింపుల్ లాజిక్ అది. స్టడీతో సంబంధం ఏం లేదు, అసెస్మెంట్ రిలేటెడ్ కదా మనం అంతే. సో ఇస్ దేర్ ఎనీ అదర్ క్వశ్చన్స్? చెప్పండి.
బిఎస్ లో 1 to 1 అర్థం కావట్లేదు సార్. స్టెప్ రిఫరెన్స్ ఫైల్ చూసుకున్నాను.
1 to 1 అంటే అర్థం కాదు.
యూసబిలిటీ చేశాక బిఎస్ అది బిఎస్ డాట్ నాట్ అని వస్తుంది. అది అన్ని ఫైల్స్ కి నాట్ అని వస్తుంది సార్, చాలా రికార్డ్స్ కి.
ఇది ఓన్లీ లేదు బిఎస్ కిరణ్. బిఎస్ 1 బిఎస్ సార్?
బిఎస్ 1 సార్, బిఎస్ 1.
ఇప్పుడు చెప్పారు కదా.
ఇదే సార్ బిఎస్ డేటా బిఎస్ 1.
సో ఏమైతుంది ఇక్కడ ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటి?
ఈ సబ్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ స్ట్రిప్ ఉంది కదా సార్,
ఇదా
పైన సార్.
ఓకే,
ఇక్కడ నుండి అర్థం కావట్లేదు సార్. ఇది ఒకసారి నేను ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే చాలా రికార్డ్స్ కి బిఎస్ స్టార్ట్ నాట్ అని వస్తుంది సార్. ఒకవేళ తీసేసినా కూడా వస్తుంది సార్.
నేను అట్లా అనట్లేదు. నా క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే ఫిజికల్ గా వెళ్ళి నువ్వు చెక్ చేసినావా రా డేటాలో నిజంగానే ఆ రికార్డ్స్ కి నీకు ఎక్కడైతే నాట్ అని వస్తుందో ఆ రికార్డ్స్ కి బిఎస్ పై అని వేరే చేస్తుందా చెక్ చేసినా? ఒకవేళ ఉంటే కరెక్ట్, లేకపోతే తప్పు కదా. సో లేదు అని అంటే ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ ఇష్యూ.
ఓన్లీ 39 రికార్డ్స్ కి ఉంది సార్ మెయిన్ డాటాలో. బట్ నేను ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే నాకు అరౌండ్ 300-400 రికార్డ్స్ వస్తుంది సార్.
మీ ఫోల్డర్ ఏంటి చెప్పండి?
సాయి మనోజ్.
ఈ స్టెప్ లోనా?
నెక్స్ట్ స్టెప్ సార్ బిఎస్2.
ఇందులో ఫిల్టరింగ్ కండిషన్ ఎక్కడ మనం డైరెక్ట్ కంట్రోల్ రిపోర్ట్ రాదు కదా. ఇది పాత వర్షన్ లో రాదు సార్. డేటా ఫిల్టర్ చేసేది ఎక్కడ మనం ఇది ఆప్షన్? డేట్ వేరియబుల్ ఏంటిది? బిఎస్ డేటా ఉంది ఇదేనా ఇంకోటా?
బిఎస్ డిటిసి
ఉందా? ఇక్కడే ఉండాలి.
స్టార్టింగ్ రిఫరెన్స్
Existing records are VSDTC. రికార్డ్స్ నీకు ఎస్ ఉంది వీటికి పిఎస్డిటిసి సరే విఎస్ ఓవరాల్ ఎస్ కదా చెక్ చేయాల్సిన డిటిసి చెక్ చేస్తుంది ఓకే ఫైన్ కదా కరెక్టే కదా సో ద ఆల్ రికార్డ్స్ ఓకే దట్స్ ఫైన్ ఉన్నాయి కదా 99 రికార్డ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా 2030 ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాయి
బిఎస్ స్టాక్ అనేది నాకన్నది బిఎస్ ఓవరాల్ బిఎస్ లేకపోతేనే వస్తాయి కదా సార్
అవును
బట్ నాకు ఉన్నా కూడా వస్తుంది సార్ రిజల్ట్స్ క్యాప్చర్ అయినా కూడా ఒకసారి నాకు బిఎస్ ఓపెన్ చేయాలి సార్
చూసి ఇక్కడ ఏ సర్వీస్ వేరియబుల్ లేదా ఇంకే ఉందండి ఇటుకి సో వేస్ట్ ఏం చేసినాను ఓకే కూడా మిస్ వేస్ట్ రన్ అవ్వలేదా కానీ ఇంకా రన్ చేసినాను ముందుకు వెళ్ళాలన్నా కండి
అది కిరణ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్
अच्छा किरण प्रोग्राम सॉरी లేదా?
గూగుల్ క్రోమ్ ఓపెన్ అయింది సార్.
అవుతుందా? వైటల్ సైన్స్ పేజ్ నెంబర్ అయితే గుర్తుందా?
59 సార్.
ఇక్కడ వైటల్స్ కి ఇఫ్ నో ఉంటే స్టాటస్ డన్ ఫర్ నాట్ డన్ పాపులేట్ చేయాలి. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఎస్ ఉంటే ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నారు? వెన్ ద వైటల్స్ కలెక్టెడ్ అనే క్వశ్చన్ అంటే కలెక్ట్ అయినాయి అంటే అయినాయి వీటంతకి రిజల్ట్స్ వస్తాయి. ఇఫ్ నో అంటే వైటల్స్ కలెక్ట్ కావాలంటే అప్పుడు స్టాటస్ నాట్ డన్ అవుతుంది. అర్థమైందా? సో అక్కడ మోస్ట్ ప్రాబ్లీ నువ్వు తీసుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే ఈదర్ మిస్సింగ్ ఆర్ ఎన్ వాల్యూ. సో అప్పుడు మీకు అది వస్తుంది. ఓకే, నువ్వు ఎస్ తీసుకుంటే రికార్డ్స్ అనేది నాట్ అని వస్తుంది. మళ్ళీ ఎస్ఎల్ ఓవర్ రైట్ అయిపోతుంది.
యాక్చువల్లీ అది నాట్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఎస్ సార్, ఈక్వల్ టు పెట్టారు.
అంటే నాట్ ఈక్వల్ టు అంటే మీరు సేమ్ ప్రీవియస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ రిఫరెన్స్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ తీసుకుని యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈజ్ కాపీ చేసి రన్ చేసుకుంటున్నారా? రాయట్లేదు ఓన్ గా? ఎప్పుడైనా రాసేటప్పుడు సేమ్ లాజిక్ వాడకండి. డిఫరెంట్ మీరు కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి చూడండి. ఆ స్టెప్ చేసి ఇట్లా చేయడం అట్లా చేయడం కాదు. బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ లో ఏమైతుందని చెప్పేసి చూడాలి. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మీకు రాగానే ఓకే ఇప్పుడు ఏదైనా మిస్టేక్స్ కామన్ అవుతుంటాయి. సో ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇది మీకు కనుక ఇది ఆల్రెడీ ఎస్ నో రిలేషన్ తెలిసి ఉంటే మీరు ఆల్రెడీ మిస్సింగ్ కానీ లేకపోతే నో వాల్యూ క్యాప్చర్ అయితే నో వాల్యూ కానీ లేకపోతే నాట్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఎస్ కానీ తీసుకొని చేసేవాళ్ళు. సో ఇప్పుడు ఇష్యూ వచ్చినప్పుడు ఇమ్మీడియట్ వెళ్ళి రా డేటా ప్లస్ ఇయర్ చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఓకే
ఓకే
ఓకే. సో డిస్పోజిషన్ చూద్దాం ఈరోజు. So in the DS, what kind of information which we are going to map? Can anyone tell?
whatever may be the reason when the subject left the trial.
Okay, basically subject is disposition, whether it terminated or whether it withdraw consent, anything. So it's left from the study. So that information is going to map DS. So this is the only one information which are
Discontinue middle of the study, it may be discontinued.
So that is also comes under same. Okay, disposition and what else? Depth related. That is also comes under disposition. The subject is okay. Apart from this, is there any other information which we are going to map to the disposition? If you already gone through the SDTM concept as a theoretical via SDTM-IG, if you read the SDTM-IG, then you will remember those things.
Protocol milestone.
Okay, that's correct. So what it means protocol milestone? What it comes under protocol milestone? It comes under protocol milestone.
Endpoint of the study was not. Endpoint of the study was met.
From the informal consent to
Informed consent update and randomization.
Okay. సో ఇన్ఫార్మ్ కన్సెంట్ అప్టైన్ మీరు అందులో చూసే వాల్యూస్ చెప్పకండి, బట్ మీనింగ్స్ ఏంటి చెప్పండి నాకు. ఇన్ఫార్మ్ కన్సెంట్ అప్టైన్ అంటే ఏంటి?
when the subject signed to the informed consent.
రైట్. సో సబ్జెక్ట్ ఎప్పుడైతే సైన్ చేస్తారో ఇన్ఫార్మ్ కన్సెంట్, దెన్ వి కాల్ అండ్ దెన్ ద సబ్జెక్ట్ ఈజ్ సైన్డ్ ఇన్ఫార్మ్ కన్సెంట్. సో దోస్ population, because that is enrolled population, so obviously informed consent obtained, that is called informed consent obtained. So the basically informed consent obtained information and then study related disposition, whether that disposition is two types: treatment disposition, study disposition. So the study is trial. What is the difference between the trial disposition and the treatment disposition? What is the difference between the trial and the treatment dispositions?
The treatment was the major reason for the left of trial. There may be some adverse events as well.
I'm simply saying what is treatment disposition, what is trial disposition. Name లోనే ఉంది.
During treatment తీసుకోరు సార్, బట్ ట్రైల్ లో ఉంటారు. మేబీ అడ్వర్స్ ఎఫెక్ట్స్ వల్ల బట్ ట్రైల్ డిస్పోజిషన్ అంటే మొత్తం ట్రైల్ మొత్తం స్టడీ మొత్తం లెఫ్ట్ చేసి.
Correct. So the treatment disposition is nothing but okay, the subject still continue the study. So he will go for the follow-up and other assessments, but he will not take the drug. So that is called a treatment disposition. So when the subject is left from the study, so completely he terminated or he itself the informed consent withdrawn, so he left from the study, means that is the trial disposition. So basically after that the subject is not going to come to site, there is no data point captured from the particular subject if the trial disposition. When it comes to the treatment disposition, due to the adverse event or any reason, the principal investigator stopped due to the treatment. So that is treatment disposition. Okay, so it means, so what kind of information which we are going to map to the disposition is that the protocol milestone means informed consent obtained, the randomization related information, disposition, the treatment and the trial disposition, and the end of the study. Okay, sometimes end of the study information also will map to the disposition. But someone is asked for the what is the disposition and then what kind of information which we are going to map to the disposition domain. You need to explain everything. So here we are going to map the protocol milestone. So in the informed consent obtained, the randomization, and when it comes to the disposition, treatment disposition, and the trial disposition, and end of the study information which we are going to map. So everything you need to know that. Okay. So basically, there is okay. So we will run these macros. Okay, good. Run it. Okay. So this macros like already tells you the macro same just the 100%. Okay. So the informed consent obtained information. Informed consent obtained information. First one I can check this code. Informed consent obtained information in the subject when the signed informed consent that information. So basically when it was signed, the date and those things will come under one raw data set that you need to find it. Okay, anyway that will be annotated in this SDTM ACRF. Okay. So basically you said that information in the DS term and the DSD code and then the respective variables which you are going to assign the length. Okay. So what is the topic variable of disposition domain? This term.
DS terms, sir.
Okay. So this will comes under which classification? DS? Events or interventions or findings?
Events.
Event. So why it is called as an event means, okay. So for example, protocol signed informed consent signed for event. So subject study to disposition of events. That's why it is called as an event domain. And then the same other event domains like that we will have this variable naming convention. Okay. DS term is the topic variable for this particular. So now we know the information obviously. So DS information, this is the fixed thing, okay. As per your control terminology, CTE, the core list values, okay. So DS cat and these are the things which is the constant text, okay. In the real time, any trial if you are doing the disposition and then we are mapping to the informed consent obtained relation information, then these are the text are constant, okay. DS cat is for the protocol milestone and the DS term is for the informed consent obtained and DSD code also informed consent obtained. Okay, now the DSSTDTC. So what is the DSSTDTC is here? Don't say this variable name. In this information, what is the DSSTDTC variable stands for?
When they sign the informed consent.
The informed consent signed date, right? So the informed consent date signed is nothing but DSSTDTC. Okay. So when it comes to protocol milestone, so that information DS group ID. So this is a group ID. It's a permissible variable. It's required for the some set of group. Okay. For the sponsor specific, and we are going to map. Now that is the specific trial related. That's fine. Okay. సో ఇక్కడ మీరు చూస్తే ప్రతి స్టడీ సబ్జెక్ట్ కి ఇన్ఫార్మ్ కన్సర్న్ డేట్ ఉంటుంది. సో ఆ డేట్ వచ్చేసి మీకు DSSTDTC అవుతుంది. ఓకే, దెన్ అసైన్ చేసిన ఫస్ట్ వస్తాయి కదా వేరియబుల్స్. సో DS cat, DS term, DSD code, DSSTDTC and then group ID. So these are the information which we have mapped. Okay, so it can derive the your subject individual or anyway you have the subject at the end when you come append all the data you can do that also. Okay, so when it comes to the eligibility criteria, okay, so the eligibility criteria is nothing but the disposition event it comes under. So we have one this IE visit variable. Okay, so the here again, so the informed consent information, the protocol milestone as well as the randomization and then the eligibility criteria, sometimes we may map the eligibility criteria information as well. So for example here the disposition event is the DS cat. Okay, this is the met all inclusion criteria or exclusion criteria. Okay, if the subject met all inclusion criteria and the subject did not met any exclusion criteria, then this value would be y, IEYN value would be y. Remember, so the inclusion exclusion criteria, one is opposite to other. Okay, if the subject is want to enroll in the study, subject should met all inclusion criteria and he should not met any exclusion criteria. For example, one of the subject is met with all inclusion criteria and he met also one exclusion criteria, then the subject is not going to enroll for the subject. Why? Because exclusion criteria he should not met, right? So there's a difference. Okay, if he included in the study means he already met all inclusion and he did not met any one of the exclusion criteria. So those subject will get this IEYN equal to y, and the remaining all for whether he did not met any one of the inclusion criteria or he did met any one of the exclusion criteria, vice versa. Okay, then the value would be no. Okay, so here this value yes means that they pass the screen. So the subject is enrolled to the study. So the DS term eligibility criteria met, the DSD could also say, and the DS cat is the protocol. When it comes to the no values is the screen failure, right? Obviously subject, he might did not met any one of the inclusion criteria or he met any one of the exclusion criteria, then the subject is called it as screen failure, right? So DS term is screen failure and then DSD code screen failure. This is the disposition event DS cat, okay? And then already they have a sign fixed here, no need to write it here again, okay? So the epoch is screening. Obviously epoch is screening means a fixed thing, right? So we can put it as epoch screening. So this date, okay, when the subject informed consent, when the subject this inclusion exclusion criteria was checked, okay, that date we can call it as a disposition, so DSSTDTC. So remember in the DSSTDTC based on the information that will change. When it comes to the informed consent, then the informed consent date would be the DSSTDTC. When it comes to the inclusion exclusion criteria, the he captured the inclusion exclusion criteria, that is DSSTDTC. So when the subject is disposition from the treatment, then that is the DSSTDTC. When the subject is completely disposition from the trial, then that is the treatment, DSSTDTC. It depends based on the information, it might change. Okay. So here the another information. So the DS is true. Okay. So if you see here, again, these are the three variables which we added it. Okay. The next is the randomization information again. Okay. So when the subject is enrolled, then the subject is randomized to the any treatment. Okay. Then the subject is randomized. Obviously, the randomization date will be there. Okay. So that date and then DS cat will be the protocol. Remember, these are the DS cat term, DSD code is fixed for the when the protocol milestones and these kind of informations. Okay, this is the fixed events in the each and every clinical trial. So obviously these are the text to be fixed as per your control terminology and the series standards. Okay, across the standard trials. So this DSFI is for the randomization number. Okay, so what is randomization number? What is randomization number?
Selection of subjects in alternative.
No, the randomization process. Okay, that's the thing. What is the randomization number?
Maybe the candidate ID.
No. Okay. So the remember, you know the randomization process, right? So okay. First of all, why we need to do the randomization in the clinical trial? So randomization is whether they will assign the randomly to the it is going to take this treatment, right? So based on that stratification method, they will do randomization. Why we need to do a randomization? We know that we have 20 people. Okay, come this 10 people to the drug and come this 10 people to the drug B. What happened? Why we need to do it? Yeah. So to avoid the bias in the clinical trials. So why? Because the clinical trials, it should not be bias. Okay. So for example, if we know the thing is that obviously there should be bias. Okay. If you are there, you are doing something, then the same thing you can do some favor to your friend and then the unknown person. Obviously, this is the human tendency. So if it doesn't know anyone, obviously you can do the unbiased, right? So but because you never know anyone, So whatever you do, you will do same for them. To avoid bias thing, okay, that's why they do the randomization based on some stratification methods, okay. So that's fine, okay. So the randomization number is nothing but, okay, subject is randomized to which treatment will have one unique number. So that number is randomization number. Okay, why we require randomization number? Sometimes, okay, when if the trial is a blinded trial, so the treatment kit, okay, treatment information, you will get some external files, okay. So present you will map as a dummy treatment names. When the study is unblinded, from the unblinding team you will get one flat file or treatment related information. So that time you can merge the treatment names based on your subject and randomization numbers. Okay. So the number is called as the randomization number. So that we can map into to here, randomization number. Okay. So and then DSSTDTC. The DSSTDTC is nothing but here it is the randomization date. Okay. Okay. So you see this is the randomized and then the date, DSFI is the randomization number. These are the randomization number. It should be unique. Okay. So now the end of the study. End of the study means, okay, obviously study when it completes the study, so that form, okay, if the subject is completed everything as per the protocol and everything, so then the subject is to the trial completion, right? So this is the information which we can map from the EOS, okay, end of the study form. DS cat is the disposition event, okay. For example, if this is the raw variable is DS cat equal to completed, then the DS term and DS decode would be the completed, okay. So basically this end of the study kind of information they are going to capture. Whether the subject is completed as per the protocol, obviously the study is completed, right? So that information will map to the captured in the end of the study from US. Okay, if the subject is withdrawn in his consent or subject is terminated from that study, early discontinuation, any kind of disposition also will capture in the end of the study. Why? Because for that subject, that is the thing, is the end of the study. If the subject is he itself withdraws consent, means he is not going to continue the study. Obviously for this, it is the end of the study, right? So basically this information we capture on the US. So those kind of information, it might be the completed or it might be the disposition. Okay. So for example, if the study is completed, if this variable is captured, if it is completed, then the DS term and DS decode will be the completed. Okay. So if the same variable is not equal to completed, means he is a disposition, he is not completed the study, but he is terminated or removed from the study. Okay. So that time, this the DS term is mapped for this variable ISD SDR term. Why? Because so what kind of term is, okay, whether he left from the study, whether he discontinued, or whether he itself consent to withdraw, anything. So those kind of information will capture under these kind of variables, so that your DS term and the DS decode value. Okay. So the one this is done, okay. So these are the values is captured under this variable, if you remember. Okay. The DS term withdrawal by investigator, then the DS decode will be the physician decision. Okay. For example, if the DS term equal to protocol deviation or violation, and then the protocol deviation. Okay, DS term is the withdrawal of consent, then withdrawal by patient or guardian. So the other specified reason would be captured here. If it's a death, so death DTC also populated here. Okay, so these kind of information is going to map here. Okay. If you see here, the DS term and the DS decodes are values. It's a completed when the subject is completed as per the study. Okay, so the protocol design. Okay, so here if you see the last two follow-up means, okay, he is discontinued from the study. Now last two follow-up means he discontinued from the study. This is the main. Okay. Is there any other values captured here? No. Okay, there is no other values captured, but okay. Okay, if the subject is dead, right? Okay. If you see here, subject is dead, then DS test DTC would be the your death date. Okay. Yeah. So we are going to append these all four data sets: informed consent date, and the protocol inclusion exclusion criteria met information, and then the study disposition information, and what else, randomization information, right? Okay. So these four information we can put it as a, we will append and this one. Okay. So remember, when this is the one of the thing when the protocol, this is a fixed standard rule, okay, when the protocol milestone, then the epoch should be missing. That is the one thing you need to do for all DS domain across the study, any kind of clinical trial. If it's a DS cat is the protocol milestone, and this is one of the interview question also, okay, when the your epoch is missing, so in the DS, so you need to say that when this DS cat is equal to protocol milestone information, which we can call it as epoch equal to missing, okay. So the later dy variables, okay, the study day calculation, here the DSST dt means DSST dy, okay. DST generated. This will be not solved. Okay, this is the different way. This one. They have written multiple macros for the same thing, not sure why. Still. Okay, I'm not sure why we are getting for all the records DSST dy is missing. There should be some reason. Okay, there is no error here, but still it is getting missing. Okay. So anyway, the study day calculation you know, right? Okay, you can write that code. That's not an issue. Okay. Still, if you want to investigate it and go and check this macro, why we are getting missing for this particular records. Okay. So the later. So what they will do is here is that, okay, so if the DS decode is informed consent and they created one temporary variable, implement variable sequence 1, they have given some order basically. Why? Because in the clinical trial, obviously the subject is start from the informed consent and then the eligibility criteria check and then the randomization and the disposition, right? So that's why to create the same order, they have manually assigned one of the order variables that they have used in the sequence creation. So that, for example, if you don't create this order, so based on your start and this and dates, okay, this might be happened here and there. So that's why to avoid that situation they have created, okay. But in general not required, but this study specific they want like that, okay. So this is enough, I think, subject ID and then DSST DTC, so that should be fine. But because the dates will be in the order, right? Anyway, there's some of the pre and post modification, it's based on your study requirements. So that's not wrong anyway. So if you see this will be the sequence number. Okay. So the ones you sorted with your start date as well as the sequence name along with the subject ID. So then the sequence number, your first dot and the sequence place one, it will create the sequence number. Okay. And remember, in this between step you can use the keep statement to create whatever the variables you required. Okay. Not always keep all variables in each and every step. Yes, finally we have only 2 rows, right? Here 396 396 396 DS underscore final. Okay. So here we get the sequence number at the end. Okay, if you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each and every subject will have these 4. Okay. During the trial, you might not get all these records. Why? Because this is a completed study, right? That's why it is getting populated our variables. Okay. If during the trial, subject is only randomized until the subject that information is get until here. Still is ongoing as the disposition related information. We don't have it. Why? Because subject is still ongoing. It's not disposition from the study. Okay. So there's a completed study, right? That's why you are getting all the information from here. Okay. So once this is the done, and then your attributes by using the your based on your specification attributes, you are going to assign each and every your attributes and the label length and the sorting order, so that you are going to output the data set. Okay. So this is the pretty much about the disposition data set. If you go any study, so the same kind of information will be captured in the disposition. Okay. So more or less your disposition program also will be similar 90% for the all studies. If the forms is same, the only one thing is that the variable names and how that it is captured. So based on that, your programming logic would be changed, but the key information is this is the information which we are going to map to the disposition domain. Okay. So is there any questions on disposition or any other questions from anybody? If no question, okay. Before that also you need to complete DM, AE, CM, vitals. Okay. Once this is completed, and then you need to complete DS. Along with that, you need to start the other finding domains as well. Okay. So I'll tell the LB and the subject visits, subject elements. Okay. If required, I might tell any other domain. Okay. Exposure or anything. Okay. After that, we'll move to P21 report as well as the SDRG, how we are going to create SDRG. Before that, okay, you need to practice rigorously, obviously, because not up to mark so far. You need to actually, you people, whatever the domain has said, you need to complete the immediate the domain the same day and then go for the other domains as well. But I can say there are only few members, they are at least created some 4 or 5 domains, but the remaining all they have not yet started. So okay, the later when you start this one, it's a complete blank. Nothing will be remembered. There is no use for this internship. Okay, when you practice only you get knowledge. Otherwise nothing. Only I can listen the classes and then I can listen the recordings. There is no use for it for sure. When you need the knowledge, when you practice, then only the knowledge will be remembered, and then you will get some additional doubts, and then you can clarify. Then you will have the clear concept in the particular domains. Okay. So it's up to you. If you practice more, and then it would be helpful for you. Okay. So yeah, so at least now also you can start practicing and take it serious. So we can complete. Okay. Before moving to other concept, at least you can complete some 10-12 domains, so that the remaining things you might practice throughout the internship. Okay. So is there any other last minute questions? I can take it as no. Yeah, thank you everyone. Bye bye.